Excellent. So I'll make that 10 o'clock. So I'll make a start. So firstly, thank you all for joining. Um, the intention of this club seminar is to give a demonstration of how to run a handicap pairs event using NGS handicapping. It works slightly differently in EBU score as opposed to the new simplified club pairs. So I'll do a demonstration of each one. So you can see, as we said a moment ago, this is being recorded, so you don't need to try and scribble lots of notes. You will be able to watch this back in your own time. And
So,
after that, we
anything
can.
about Scorebridge in this at all?
There isn't. I don't have access to Scorebridge. Um, I but I do. I believe you can do something similar with Scorebridge.
Okay, thanks.
Um, yes. So after that, we just someone else joining us. That's good. After I've done the demonstrations, we can then just have a general discussion. I did say if people had run special kinds of events as part of Bridget's a Big Deal, or with Christmas coming up, that have been particularly successful, then it'd be interesting to hear about those. I have had one email I can read out, but yeah, we can just have a general discussion either about special events or anything else that people want to raise. So um, anyway, for now, I will start by demonstrating handicap pairs. And if you do have any questions, do shout out. That's absolutely fine. Right, just admitting a few more people. Share my screen. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen. So I'll start by demonstrating the EBU score. So I should probably first say what the difference is. So um, the main difference is that with the handicapping on EBU score, with the handicapping on EBU score, it basically apply based on your NGS grade. It applies a handicap between -6 and 6. So if you're an ace, you effectively get 6% taken off your percentage. So this is per individual. So if it's a pair of aces, you'd be losing 12% off your percentage. So ace is -6, king -5, queen -4, etc., down to a 2, which would be +6. So it does it on a -6 to +6 scale. Whereas for EBU club pairs, it does it based on your actual grade. So it does the calculation is 50 minus NGS. So if your NGS is 60, then obviously you're -10, and if your NGS is 40, then you're +10. So some of this will be the same. Obviously, the end result will be slightly different. So if we start with EBU score pairs, so obviously the first thing you need is a player database with all your players in. I'm going to demonstrate this with Durham because that's the club I play at most. So I presume that most people have already got a player database with all their players in. So here's my list of players. So what you need to do first is is update your player database to add in their NGS grades. So we go to player management here. Just going to move the. Sorry, I'm just moving Zoom out of the way because it's over the top of that. Okay. Right. So the important things to have ticked are that you want handicaps by grade -6 to 6, and you want non-interactive. That just means that it goes through and sets them all without you having to confirm each individual one. So just make sure those two boxes are ticked, and then click Set All Player EBU Details. So it'll say, yeah, we want it. So this is going to, what it does is basically for each player in your player database, it adds in their county, master point rank, NGS grade, and sets the handicap. So it can say okay to that. And you'll see there's now a progress bar. It will take a couple of minutes, but not too long.
Jonathan, can I just ask you a question? I can't see your screen. All I can see are all the participants.
Ah, can other people see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. I've probably got something wrong, that's all.
Okay, so you may need to go into a different, within Zoom, there's different, I've lost where my Zoom is now. Oh, I made it, it's because I made it small. Within Zoom, you've got different views, so you may want to...
Speaker view?
Yeah, try that.
Minimize Zoom.
Yeah, I can see speaker view and I can see a little bit an inset down in the corner. Let's try that. Yeah, I'm with you now. That's fine, thanks.
All right, brilliant.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Let me just go back to it. Right. Okay, so when it completes, it will bring up a report like this. So there's basically two reasons that it won't be able to get someone's NGS grade. As it says, too few boards played to earn a grade. So a player needs to have played 150 NGS gradable boards within the last 3 years to have a grade. And in the case of someone like John Dobson here, he's chosen to make his grade private. So for both of those cases, the program sets them to -6, which is the worst possible handicap. So if we just go back to EBU score for a moment, you see it says complete. Okay. So if we go back to the player database now, if we pick on, say, me, you can see I'm a king, and therefore it's applied a handicap of -5. If we look at my wife, she's a jack, so it's -3. So if we now look at some of these people, so as I said, Alp hasn't, if we look here, Alp hasn't played enough boards to have a grade, so it's set him as -6. Now, if you know that the reason the person hasn't played enough games boards is because they're a new player, they're a beginner, whatever, then you may feel that -6 isn't the right handicap. You probably feel they deserve the maximum handicap of +6. So in that case, all you would do is just change. You can just click here and change the handicap. So we can just say, well, actually, we want it to be 6. So we just do that. And then you need to make sure you click Save Player, because otherwise it won't remember it. So click Save Player. So we've then set Alp's handicap to +6 rather than -6. Similarly with John Dobson, who we said had decided to make his grade private, he will also have been given -6. And in the case of someone making it private, you probably would just leave it at -6, because, yeah, we don't know what they are. You might be an ace for all we know. I mean, if you have more information in your own club, then obviously you can make your own decision. But anyway, that's how it handles them. So now now for each person, we've got their NGS grade and their handicaps being set. So now we can go ahead and run our event. So if I go back to my events, well, here's one I set up earlier. So if we take this Monday afternoon pairs and retrieve that. If I go to player names, you can see everyone's in blue, which means that everyone is a member. And so they've all got, they all have an NGS grade, and so they all have a handicap as well. So we can go, if we look at print names, you can see here the grades for everyone and their handicaps. John Dobson's actually playing here, so we can see, because as we said, he's got private, there's no grade shown, and he's got handicap of -6. Someone else the same down here. So then all we need to do is just, when we go to the reports at the end, we just need to tick the box here for handicaps. And then when we display the ranks on screen, we can now see, you can see here the effect that the handicap is. So the percentage score column here is the score before the handicap. You've then got the handicap applied and the results with the handicap. So this ranking list is sorting on the results with the handicap. And you can see here that the positions that they were originally. So for example, Adrian and John were first originally, but they've been fairly heavily handicapped by 10, and that's dropped them to 4th position now. Similarly, we can see some of the big risers here. These pairs were in 10th, 13th, and 11th, and now they're up in the sort of top 10. And this session's actually got quite a big variance in terms of the handicaps. We've got all the way from -10 to +11. I'll show you the evening session in a moment, the evening session is stronger, and you'll see that the handicaps are having a slightly different effect, but I'll show you that in a second. So is that much clear to people?
Yeah. Yeah, you rushed through it, Jonathan. Can you go through it once more, how you set it up and everything, because you went so quick?
Sure. So well, let me just do let me just go back. So
it was just that step I missed, Jonathan.
Okay, well, let me just go back. So as I say, the first thing is to go into the player database, and we went to player management and did the set all player EBU details, and that sets everyone's handicap between -6 to +6 based on their NGS. And as we said, you can then see for each player, you can see their NGS and their handicap.
How do you see the ones who don't have a handicap? You brought up that notepad.
Yeah, so when you click the set all player EBU details, then once it finishes, then it will bring up that report that we were looking at.
Okay, no, that's what I missed. Thanks.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I found it very important, as you mentioned to me when I spoke to you on the phone, to have the handicaps by grade ticked and non-interactive ticked, and not the other 2 boxes. And I think that's worth mentioning.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that, yes, no, that's a good point. So yes, as we said, have the handicaps by grade and non-interactive ticks, but don't tick the other 2 boxes, because it's that they're doing other things that we don't want. So yeah, don't just have those 2 ticked and not the other 2.
Jonathan, can I ask a question about stratification? If you're doing handicapping, do you disable stratification?
Well, they're doing slightly different things, because the stratification is that will change the master point awards, whereas the when it's handicapped, the master point awards will still be on the original positions. They won't be on the handicapped results.
Okay, thanks.
Alan's asking if I'm running a handicap competition over multiple weeks, should I update the handicaps before each week's event or leave them alone for the duration of the competition? I mean, I think it depends really. I don't think either way is right or wrong. I think you could do either. If you do want to keep the if you want to keep the handicaps, I mean, if you want to set them at the beginning of the competition and then keep them, you can do set handicap file. I think that's the one. Yeah, so that creates a file which has saved the handicaps as of today. And then you can always, that way, if they do get updated, you've got them stored and you can use them.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Which percentage has an effect on NGS when it's uploaded? Is it the handicap percentage or the original percentage?
The original percentage, yeah.
So
both for master points and NGS, it's the original.
So the handicapped event really doesn't change anything apart from the apparent results of the local session.
Yes, I think I think it is just to it's to give it's to give people who probably wouldn't be at the top of the ranking list normally a chance of being at the top of the ranking list and maybe even winning. But yes, they won't be rewarded in terms of master points or NGS. I think, yeah.
Jonathan, you may have your own internal club competition, which you'd use the handicap results for. I mean, you might give a prize every month for the leading pair or whatever handicap pair. So it's useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good point, Ken.
Jonathan, I may be preempting you, but what will this show up like on Bridgewebs when you upload the results?
Well, I'll do it in a second.
Okay,
so that's fine. So right, so we were just going through it again. So we've set the grades in the player database, and then we want to actually run our handicap event. So you'd go to pairs events as normal. You would set up the event as normal. So I'm just going to retrieve this one because I've already got it set up. But you would set it up as normal. You'd bridgemate scoring and everything. If you want to show live results and show them with the handicapping, you can go to reports names here and just tick the box for ranks with handicaps. And if you then click show ranks, you'll see here the live. So this is the live results. Obviously, for us here, it's got all the scores, but this would be your updating live results, and it's got the handicaps there as well, or it's got the results with the handicaps applied.
Jonathan,
similarly,
can I ask a question while you're on Bridgemates, the Bridgemate setup there?
Yeah.
Somewhere there is a key to check that to allow the hand analysis from each round.
You mean the sort of to see the makeable, to see what?
That's right. Yeah, I can get the hands on the screen so that people can review it, but I can't get the analysis to check.
Right. Is it coming up, but it's coming up blank?
It's coming up blank. Yeah.
Okay. I think for that to work, you have to import the hands directly into Bridgemate control and let it and ask it to analyze them. Okay. That's getting a slight tangent, so I will.
Okay.
I'll come back to that at the end.
Thank you.
Remind me. So then at the end, we go to the event menu, go to reports. And again, all we need to do is just tick ranks. If we handicaps rather, if I click master points as well, then you'll see what I was that. And then we can display them on screen. So as I was saying, the master points will be based on the original unhandicapped results. So Adrian and John, although they've dropped to 4th in the handicap results, because they were the winners, they still get the most master points. But so then you can see the results with the handicap applied.
Just going back a page, there was the prizes and qualifiers. Is that back to the original raw results rather than the handicap results? If you want to tick prizes or qualifiers and things like that, you just had it on the page before where you ticked master points and handicap pairs.
Right. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I think if you've set up, I think that will put it to, I think that will do it on the handicap results. If you've set up a prize or a qualifier, I think it will do it on the handicap results.
Okay.
Go back briefly to where people are below NGS. You can adjust the handicaps to what you see fit, which is okay for a club event. But what if you're playing in a national or county event? Can you adjust the handicaps there, or do you have to just stick with what it gives us?
Well, as I was saying, I think there's two slightly different situations. The people who have chosen to make it private and the people who haven't played enough boards. For the national handicap pairs, which is that's the national event which takes place in September. People are required to have their grade public, so that eliminates one kind. I think if people are playing who are new to the game, who are genuinely new to the game and have played less than 150 boards, which we'd probably need to verify by speaking to their club, because we're obviously not going to know necessarily. Then I think we would be willing to give them a generous handicap.
Can you not base it on the ranking? I noticed the one who had suppressed it, he was a Premier National Master or something, so that gives you an idea.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so yeah, certainly for the ones who are private. I mean, for the ones who have chosen to make it private, I think you just give them the worst handicap, because they're choosing to have it private, and for all we know, they could well be NGSAs. So I think you have got two different categories.
Something I may have missed. Can you actually download the results from Bridgewebs, for example?
Well, so let's. I'm just about to show you how it works when we upload them to Bridgewebs. So let's do that first, and then we can go from there. So once you're ready to upload to Bridgewebs, you'd go to Internet Reports as normal. We're not going to put them on Chipping Norton's site; that will confuse them. No, it's not. So obviously we want to make sure that include handicaps is ticked. And for the handicap, so that the results include the handicap, you need to use the one that says Bridgewebs upload CSV file. So that's I will get there. I mean, there's that it's on the list to improve so that both of them work. But for now, just use the CSV file. So if we do that, it's going to upload the results. So that's uploaded. So if we now go and have a look at that. Monday afternoon pairs. And you can see here it looks much the same as what we were looking at on screen. You've got their original percentage, the handicap, and the percentage with the handicap applied. So in terms of downloading those again from Bridgewebs, you would, yeah, I mean, you could download it in the normal way. And I presume it would still, I think it would still have the handicap information in there. So if you aren't aware, the way that you can download the results from Bridgewebs, I mean, you could just copy and paste this text if that was what you wanted, but the other way to do it is to go to administration, put in the password, and then you can go recover. And you can see here, this is all the files that have been uploaded. So we'd just find the one for the date we want, which is 25th of November, and click CSV, and then that will download the CSV file. And we just quickly have a look at that. I think it should still contain the handicaps. So got does name to. Oh, handicap, it's here. It's the, yeah, handicap -10. So yes, it has got the handicap information in there.
Can you go back to the test site for a second, Jonathan?
Yep.
And if you, to the results page.
Yep.
And yeah. And if you click on the top there, ranking, does it alter it now? Yeah, it alters it now so that it's in the handicap comes first. Is that right? Yes, it does.
No, it was always in that order.
Yeah, no, that ranking is a toggle between unhandicapped and handicapped.
No, I don't think so. It's Stuart and George are always at the top.
Yeah, try again. Yeah. Okay. I thought it toggled between the two.
Jonathan, may I ask a question? This is where I had a problem uploading results. I actually used club pairs rather than EBU score pairs, but the principle's the same. And using club pairs, which works on percentages rather than NGS grades, I had a great problem uploading the results along with the handicapped results. When I did this, it would upload the results fine, but without handicaps. Once I uploaded them with handicaps, I got a load of rubbish. It wouldn't have dealt with the handicaps correctly. I don't know
Okay.
the reason for that, but I was uploading to Pianola rather than Bridgewebs.
Okay, right. So that's a bit, yeah, yes. With Pianola, it's a bit different. And I think they are looking at it. I think they are looking at it. So I think that may work in the future.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, I'm trying to have a conversation with James, which at the moment we seem to keep missing each other.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But yes, I know. I am aware that he is working on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Jonathan, going back to your CSV and your XML file, which is the recommended way to upload a normal event to Bridgewebs? Which file what's the difference between the two? Yeah.
So the reason that there are two is that obviously for uploading to the EBU, it's an XML file, and the thinking was that it would be much easier if we had one XML file that could be uploaded to Bridgewebs and to the EBU. So in general, I would recommend you update the EBU, upload the EBU, the XML file. For one thing, if you do need to edit things later, the XML file contains all the EBU numbers, whereas the CSV doesn't. So if you download the CSV and correct something, and then you want to upload to EBU, you're potentially going to have to find everyone's EBU numbers again. yes. So for most cases, the XML file will work perfectly. There are some edge cases where you need to use the CSV file like this situation, and the plan is that we will get those fixed, and then in the future we can just use the XML file for everything. So I will just demonstrate quickly in club pairs. I mean, it is the principle is kind of the same. It just obviously looks slightly different because the handicaps are done on actual on your actual grade rather than a value between -6 and 6. So I'll just close that for a sec.
Jonathan, is there a sort of crib sheet summary of everything you've gone through?
Yes, there is. I can, and I'll when we put the video up, we'll put a link to that as well.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
You're talking about different scoring systems. What about Scorebridge? That's what we use.
Yeah, so I don't have access to Scorebridge to demonstrate it for you, but I believe you can do something similar in Scorebridge.
What about Bridge Score? I see you've got that on your desktop.
Which one? I can't remember which one this is. Which one's this?
This is the Bridge PAL one.
Right.
The Gocha one.
Right. I haven't used it. I mean, I think it's there because I was trying to help someone with something, but I haven't actually used it apart from that. So I don't know, but I would imagine it might well have that functionality.
I was having a problem loading hand records and, well, not loading them, but loading them and not being able to view them. But that's out with this. I'll get back to the Gochas, John and Myrna on that.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So let me just let me just minimize that. I'll just try on. Oh, the other thing I was going to, just before we go to, well, we can demonstrate it in club screens. So this is club pairs. For those of you who aren't aware, basically club pairs is a simplified version of EBU score, which is aimed at clubs. So some of the functionality which we think is not normally used by clubs has been taken out, and hopefully people find it more straightforward. I mean, if you're happy with EBU score, there's no need to change. EBU score will still be available, but for clubs that are moving from other scoring programs, and then they may find this easier to get to use. So the same as before, obviously we need a player database, and that needs to have all the NGS grades. So we go to player list admin. And here it's in fact simplified. The other two boxes, which we were saying not to tick, have been removed anyway. So you just click that, make sure both those are ticked, and then as before, click this box to set EBU details in player database. And again, we get a little progress bar. So the difference doing it this way is that there isn't, I mean, with EBU score, for people who've got their grade public, private rather, they can just be given the maximum handicap of -6. Doing it this way, there isn't really a maximum that can be applied because obviously someone's NGS grade can go as, well, we don't, yeah, I mean, obviously there's no limit to how high it could go in theory. So obviously I'm using the same player data, the same people. So obviously the same ones haven't played enough boards and the same ones have got their grade private. So if we return and look at the players, you will see now we can see their grade here. So 46.33 is his grade. And as I said, the handicap is 50 minus the grade, so therefore his handicap is 3.67. So he'll get 3.67 plus whatever his partner's handicap is added to his score. So if we look at someone like John Dobson, who has his grade hidden, where are we? D. The handicap's been set as minus 9999, which basically means that is the that's the program's way of recording that it can't find a grade for that person, either because it's hidden or because they haven't played enough boards. So if we look at our peer who hasn't played enough boards, he's also set to minus 9999 because to the program it doesn't tell the difference between the two. But for people whose grade is public, like me, you can see that it's set the grade and the handicap for everyone. So what does this look like in the results, you ask, when some people haven't got a handicap? So if we now go into the event, well, let's just first look at the afternoon event, which is this one that we were just looking at. Because in this one, we said everyone's a member. I'll look at the other case where some people aren't a member in a minute, but let's just look at this one first. So if we go to reports, we've got handicaps and master point sticks, so that's perfect. And if we just do the ranks. So is that everyone? We got some off the page. No, there we go. So you can see here, it's done the same thing. So you've got the score, you've got the handicap, and you've got the percentage with the handicap. However, the way it marks people where one of the partnership doesn't have a grade is that they get DNQ, do not qualify. So like John Dobson, we said his grade was private. I'm not sure about all these, whether they're not played enough boards or their grade's private, but in either case, they get marked as DNQ. So for people who are brand new, well, in either case, you could go and set them a handicap if you wanted to. So, well, I'll just quickly demonstrate. So, so if we decide that we're going to give John Dobson, we're going to allocate John Dobson a handicap. So if we go back to the photo space. So if we decide we're going to set him as, or what do we think? Well, if he was, we'll give him -8. Let's say we decided we're going to give him a handicap of -8, which that's suggesting that we think his NGS is about 58, and therefore 50 minus 58 would be -8. So we'll set that. And as before, you need to remember to click Save Player, otherwise it won't remember it. And if we go and look at the results now, let's close that one. Reports and ranks. You can see now we've only got 3 DNQs because Adrian and John, I've now lost where they are. Oh, here they are, they're second. Adrian and John are -8.34, that seems. Oh, I think it does I think it takes yes, it takes an average, I think. So if we just quickly look. So so Adrian's -8.67 and we set John to -8, but it takes an average of the two. So therefore it's -8.34 for their pair. So yes, so people who haven't got a grade will be DNQ, but you could set a handicap for them if you wanted to. So if we just quickly look at the other case, which is where you've got non-members playing. So if I just go to the evening event, because I know there were. Oh, I see. So the reason actually that Nick Deeming was. So actually what's happened here is that he's put his name in as Nick Deeming, but in the list he's Nicholas Deeming. So that's why it's not matched up. So if I correct that and then look at the ranks again, I suspect we'll now only have 2 DNQs. Yeah, because because now it's picked up his correct handicap for him, so he's now in the ranking list somewhere, which I can't immediately see. Where is he? I can't see for looking.
12.
12. Yes, there we go. Yeah, and in fact they've got, oh well, yes, they've got a huge handicap. Right, so if I just quickly, as I said, show the situation where you've got non-member playing. So if we look in the evening, I know there was some non-members in the evening. So if we look at names, here you can see in yellow, we've got 3 non-members playing. So firstly, if we just look at the results, then obviously they will come up as DNQs. We've actually got a bunch of them. So James Grant was one of the people who didn't have a grade, who was a visitor rather. Someone in this pair has got their grade hidden. And then this was our other pair of visitors. And someone in this pair must have their grade hidden as well. This was the point I was making, that because it's a higher standard field, in fact, everyone has got negative handicaps, which it doesn't really matter. It's still adjusting for, it's still making an adjustment based on people's NGS, but yeah, just kind of interesting, I guess. So if we wanted the visitors to be able to be included, then we could add them to the player database so we could get their NGS. So if I just, and then they could be included. So what I can do is go back to the names. So say I want to, we've actually got James Grant's EBU number, but he's not in our list, and so we haven't looked up his grade. So what we can do, we can click Update Player. It will just ask us to match that it's who it is. So he's the only James Grant, so we can be fairly confident that's the right one. Well, and the EBU number matches what we had, 432130. So now he'll have been added to the list, and when you do the update player, it's looked up his details straight away. So we can see that his NGS is 5256, so he's been given a handicap of -2.56. So he'd now be included in the results. We can quickly do the same with these ones. So, there's a space missing there. That's not it.
Notice you're doing this at the bottom on Update Player. What about the Add Visitors box?
Yeah, so, well, let me just show you. If I click Add, if I do Add Visitor, it will add them on the list on the right, but it won't get their details. So doing the Update Player does both.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you click the Add Visitor, would it still include them in the result?
Well, it wouldn't. If we just do Add Visitor, then it wouldn't have looked up the grade. So we'd then need to go and look up the grade. Otherwise, they would still appear as DNQ because they wouldn't have a grade.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
It's getting confused because she's got multiple surnames. Let me just try and. So, in fact, this is effectively the situation. So if I go back one sec, this is effectively what would happen if you went add visitor, because the person's there, but they've got no handicap. So if I now click update player, still can't find it. I think that's right now. Oh, well, we'll just.
I think you've got a space between Zeno and Espinosa.
Yeah, she's Spanish. She's Spanish. She's got two surnames.
Oh dear.
I'm not quite sure what's wrong there. Maybe I've probably spelled something wrong. Anyway.
Might be hyphenated.
Anything, something. I've got something wrong. Anyway, we'll give up on that one. Who do we know? Pick someone with a. There we go. Then we need to get his address. Right. So now all the visitors have got grades. So now when we go to the ranks, so where's Rosie and our substitute, because we can are now showing with a handicap, and Liam and James are also showing with a handicap. So the two DNQs that we've got left are the two people whose grades were private. So that's how you could deal with visitors. You might say visitors can't win the handicap prize, and you just leave them as DNQ, or you could look up their grade and let them join in with the handicap competition.
Is it the same procedure for teams, teams of 4, Jonathan?
It's not built in for teams. There's nothing in the scoring program built in for teams of 4. There is something in the NGS full guide about how you could do it, but I think it's a lot less used for teams of 4. So the uploading to Bridgewebs is just the same. So if we I'll just do it quickly. So we can go to Internet Functions, and then include handicaps again, upload to Bridgewebs. We go to the test site. I set the one for Club Pairs to use today's date. So that's this one. And you can see it all looks the same. In Club Pairs, you'll have noticed there's only one upload to Bridgewebs button, and it does use an XML file, and it does display properly. So I just need to add that functionality into EBU Score. But you can see here, the results appear the same, and the two DNQs at the bottom just have blank handicaps. So hopefully that's given a good idea, a good demonstration of how that works, both in EBU Score and in Club Pairs. Do people have questions?
Just
Yeah,
sorry, carry on.
After you, Ted.
You said you'd run it through Scorebridge.
Sorry?
You said you'd show us how to do it on Scorebridge.
No, I said I don't have access to a copy of Scorebridge, but I believe I've seen it used, so I'm fairly sure that it does work the same. And I think it works more like Club Pairs in that I think people whose grade is hidden are displayed as DNQ, or maybe it even misses them off the ranking list entirely. I can't remember.
It includes them as non-applicable.
Right, thank you.
Are there any rules or regulations regarding handicapped events that people might, if people complain about it or don't like it, is it any reason why clubs shouldn't do it?
I mean, it's important to remember the master points in NGS are still going to be done off the unhandicapped results. So it's very much something for local interest, and potentially, as Ken said, you might have a handicap competition within the club. I think it can be a good way of encouraging less experienced players to get involved, because you can see. I mean, it was on the afternoon one, I think, wasn't it, that we were looking at. If you've got a low NGS, you can get a big handicap, and it can give you a real boost up the ranking list. We've seen with the national handicap pairs, there've been people with very low NGS who have won it some years. So I think it can be really good. It can really encourage less experienced players, and it's something that they've got a real chance of winning within the club.
Thanks.
Am I right in thinking, Jonathan, that if you use a Bridgeweb's competition page, it will use the handicap results, or do they marry together, the EBU score handicaps and the Bridgeweb's competitions handicap?
Yeah, so you need to, within so what what's being asked about is in Bridgewebs you can set up competitions, so you can see these are the current competitions for Durham, and you can set up one which is done, which is a handicapped one, and I think what you have to do is, I think Bridgewebs pulls the handicaps directly from the EBU, so you need to have that set up so that Bridgewebs has the club EBU number and password, and then it can get the NGS grades of the players, and then it can do it that way.
Okay.
Jonathan, looking at your evening results, if you had scored that using EBU score, you wouldn't have had such a fair handicap result. So it seems to me that club pairs using the actual NGS is more precise. So why is EBU score just doing it on grade?
I'm not sure what the historical reasons were. When EBU score was first written, that was the way it was done. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, clearly the club pairs is more accurate. I mean, we can just look at the I've got the evening here in EBU scores, so let me just.
I think you have the choice, don't you? I'm not sure.
No, they don't. You don't. No. Yeah, so obviously it will end up slightly different. Oh well, for one thing, it's the two pairs with hidden grades are being allocated a grade of -6. So, but yes, as we said, the
Jonathan, can you tell us what was used for the national handicap pairs? Because I believe that was done using percentages rather than grades. Is that correct?
The national handicap pairs uses the actual grades, like the same way that club pairs is doing it.
So did they use club pairs?
No, we don't actually need to use any scoring program, because the way the national handicap pairs works is that the heats all get uploaded to the EBU Sim Pairs software, so that gives the overall ranking list without handicapping, and from there we just apply the handicaps manually.
I see. Thank you.
Another question, John. Can you run a competition, a normal competition, and then retrieve the results and convert it into a handicap result?
Yes. I mean, that's effectively what I've done here, because this was
what I thought you were doing, but I wasn't sure. Right.
Yeah. I mean, you could import any old session into EBU score, and then apply the handicaps and see the results.
Okay. So have a good play around. Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Just before I stop sharing, the question about BridgeMate control software. it's not going to. There's no server connected to this computer, but it doesn't matter. So if you want to be able to see the hands and the makeable contracts on the BridgeMate, I think what you need to do is go to File here and Import, which it's not going to. Oh well, let me. Maybe if I open a database, it will let me. One sec. Yeah, File and Import, and then import a file to all sections, which will be the hand record files. So I'll just choose one. I have no idea what this is. And then click, make sure Analyze Makeable Contracts is ticked, and then say Import File. And it's going to analyze the contracts. So yes to continue. You can see its progress at the bottom here. Shouldn't take it too long.
So what file type is that importing, Jonathan?
A PBN, a hand record
PBN,
file.
thank you.
Yeah. And then once you've done that, then it should it'll have the hand records and the makeable contracts.
So at what point do you do that, Jonathan? Because that would be quite useful. Do you do it after you've started the bid rates working?
Yeah. Once you've launched the bridge mates at the beginning of the session, then you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's only once only event, is it? I mean, you do it once and it just keeps that. It records it for your next event. I'm pretty sure ours does it automatically. Every time I launch BCS software, you could just press import. Oh no, maybe you have to press the button import.
Yeah, I think you'll need to import the hand each time to show that. Yeah.
Ken, do you find it slows things down too much with people spending too much time analysing what they could have made? Or
well, that's up to the TD to sort that out.
Okay, all right.
If you do want to use this functionality, if you do want it to show the hands and the makeable contracts, you also need to turn on those things. So the way you turn it on is by going to BridgeMate Scoring, set BCS options down here, and then on BridgeMate 2, you've got hand records here. So you tick View Hand Records, and then they'll be able to see the hand records after they play the board. Right. So any questions about this or anything else?
My wife's asking if you want your coffee, Jonathan. She's shouting through.
Oh, well, that's very kind of her. Yeah.
When will the video go up on the EBU website, Jonathan? How will we find it?
We'll put. Well, let me get. Oh, I can't quite do this. We'll put out a notification once it's up. We can. I was going to send over. Well, yeah, we can see. Yeah, I mean, it should be up by Friday anyway, and we'll put a notification up. We can potentially send around an email to all the clubs once it's up.
Thank you.
So it's actually we're right on the hour. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks very much.
This will be the last club seminar for this year, but there will be more next year. If there are topics you'd like to see covered, then please do let me know, and we'll certainly be happy to do that. And yeah, if you have any questions about this or anything else, please do reach out to me. So thank you all, and thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Cheers.